Dealers are slashing prices, showroom floors are packed with unsold bikes, and riders are losing thousands overnight. America's motorcycle market is crashing in ways most buyers never see coming. With sales down over 9% and certain models shedding more than half their value, the old rules no longer apply. Why are even the biggest names and the newest technology at risk? These are the 10 motorcycles dropping in value fastest, and what is really causing the free fall just beneath the surface. US motorcycle sales fell 9.2% in the first half of 2025, with just 271,205 units sold, a figure not seen in over a decade. Street bikes saw an even sharper slide, dropping 9.4%. These are not just abstract percentages. For every 10 bikes that rolled out of showrooms last year, one never found a buyer this time around. Rows of unsold inventory now stretch across dealer lots nationwide, and the pressure to move them grows with each passing week. The numbers reveal a market in retreat. The Motorcycle Industry Council confirms that both new and used sales have weakened, with dealers describing a flood of inventory and auction houses reporting repossessions at rates not seen since the last recession. In just 6 months, the total US market lost over 27,000 sales compared to the previous year. For street models, the backbone of the industry, the contraction is even more severe, as core buyers pull back and younger riders hesitate to step in. Behind these statistics are real consequences. Dealers face mounting interest payments on floor plan loans, while every unsold bike racks up daily costs. Manufacturers have been slow to cut manufacturer-suggested retail prices, but discounts and rebates now appear across the country as inventory piles up. According to a Motorcycle Industry Council economist, we are seeing an unprecedented combination of high retail prices, rising interest rates, and a shrinking buyer base. The result has been a rapid drop in both new sales and used values. Certain categories are feeling the pain more than others. Cruisers, adventure bikes, and sport models have all posted double-digit value drops at auction this year. For buyers, this means sticker shock on new models, but also deep bargains, sometimes thousands below original price, on nearly new bikes. For sellers, especially those holding recent purchases, the reality is far less forgiving. The scale of this downturn is forcing a reckoning across the industry, and the ripple effects are reshaping what motorcycles are worth in 2025. Sticker prices on new motorcycles have climbed far faster than most paychecks. Since 2020, average MSRPs for popular models have jumped by as much as 35%, while median US wages have lagged behind, up only about 20% in the same period. High-end bikes, especially cruisers, adventure machines, and sport models, now carry price tags that outpace what many riders can actually afford. For a growing number of buyers, the math simply doesn't work. Oversupply is making things worse. When the pandemic drove a rush on outdoor recreation, manufacturers ramped up production. That wave has now crashed, leaving over 2 million unsold motorcycles in the US pipeline. Dealers are stuck paying daily interest on floor plan loans, sometimes at rates of 6% or more. Every day a bike sits unsold, costs pile up, storage, insurance, and lost cash flow. After 90 days, many dealers have no choice but to slash prices or send bikes to auction, where recoveries often fall 30 to 40% below original MSRP. Auction houses like National Powersport Auctions report cruisers down 13%, adventure bikes 11%, and sport bikes 8% at recent sales, with repossessions flooding the lanes. The buyer pool is shrinking too. The generation that built the modern motorcycle scene is aging out, and younger riders aren't stepping in fast enough to fill the gap. Industry data show fewer new licenses and a steady rise in the average age of owners. For expensive, heavy or high-tech bikes, this means fewer interested buyers and even less willingness to pay top dollar for last year's model. Meanwhile, rapid advances in electronics and emissions rules, like Euro 5+ standards, make older bikes feel outdated overnight. Bikes that were cutting edge just a few years ago now struggle to compete with fresh tech, advanced safety features, and better fuel efficiency. Dealers facing this squeeze are forced to discount aggressively, turning what used to be a safe investment into a fast-moving target for depreciation. The countdown starts with a machine that once promised to revolutionize the industry. The Livewire launched at nearly $30,000, and it arrived with the full weight of the brand's legacy behind it. But high hopes met hard realities. Real-world range often fell short of claims, and highway rides sometimes meant hunting for a charger every 70 to 90 miles. Charging infrastructure lagged behind, especially outside major cities. For many, the Livewire became a commuter for the well-prepared, rather than a true touring bike. Battery anxiety and a thin dealer network kept the pool of buyers small. When Harley-Davidson spun off Livewire as its own brand, dealers quietly moved early models out of the spotlight. By 2025, used examples surfaced online at less than half their original price, with some listings dipping below $12,000. Owners faced poor trade-in offers and long waits to sell, as the next wave of electric motorcycles arrived with better range and faster charging. The result was one of the steepest value drops in Harley-Davidson's history, especially for a bike that was supposed to lead the future. Next is the Kawasaki Ninja ZX6R, especially older generations. The 600 cubic centimeter Supersport class once filled showrooms and track days. Now it is a segment in retreat. Insurance premiums for young riders soared, and the cost to keep these bikes running, tires, valves, and crash repairs, climbed just as quickly. Many ZX6Rs have lived hard lives on the track, with modifications and high rev hours scaring off everyday buyers. The market for street-focused supersports keeps shrinking as riders turn to upright nakeds or adventure bikes. Used ZX6Rs now appear for thousands less than their original $10,000 to $12,000 sticker price, and sellers find themselves in a race to the bottom against other aging 600s. The days of easy high-dollar resale are gone. Yamaha's R6, once a staple of the middleweight sport class, faces a different challenge. Yamaha discontinued the street-legal R6, leaving only track-focused versions in production. For racers, the R6's pedigree holds strong, but for most buyers, it is a tough sell. High-strung engines and frequent maintenance demands mean costs pile up quickly. Many used R6s show evidence of track use, tired engines, worn chains, crash repairs, and aftermarket parts that do not add value on resale. Clean low-mile examples still fetch a premium, but most used R6s are deeply discounted, sometimes to half their original $12,000 to $13,000 price. Owners who invested in upgrades and meticulous maintenance often find the market unwilling to pay for that effort. For street riders, the appeal fades fast compared to more practical alternatives. The Triumph Rocket 3 stands out for its sheer size and power, a 2.5-litre engine, and a presence that dwarfs most other bikes. But the Rocket 3's niche status is a double-edged sword. Insurance costs run high, and the intimidating weight limits the pool of riders willing to take one home. Parts can be expensive and hard to source, especially for older models. The Rocket 3's original $23,000 to $25,000 price tag puts it in luxury territory, but used listings often show big drops within just a few years. Dealers report slow turnover and frequent markdowns to move these mega cruisers off the floor. For the right buyer, a Rocket 3 can be a bargain, but for sellers, it is a waiting game. Harley-Davidson's Street 500 and Street 750 models were built as entry points for new riders. With manufacturer-suggested retail prices under $8,000, they were meant to bring fresh faces into the Harley fold. But a budget reputation stuck. Many in the Harley community saw the Streets as a compromise, and the competition from bikes like the Honda Rebel and Yamaha Bolt was fierce. When Harley-Davidson discontinued the line, used values softened further. Today, Street 500s and Street 750s are among the cheapest nearly new Harleys on the market, often selling well below their original price, even with low miles. Buyers looking for their first Harley have options, but owners hoping to recoup their investment face a crowded, price-driven market. Each of these 5 models tells a different story about why motorcycles lose value so quickly. Whether it is technology moving faster than buyers, a shrinking segment, sky-high insurance costs, or a reputation that never quite caught on, the result is the same: rapid depreciation and tough choices for owners and dealers alike. As the list continues, the reasons only get more complex, and the stakes get much higher. The Suzuki GSX R750 once defined the sweet spot between lightweight agility and open-class power. But the market has moved on. With the manufacturer's suggested retail price hovering around $13,500, the GSX R750 sits in a shrinking segment. Buyers looking for cutting-edge technology or advanced safety features now gravitate toward newer liter bikes or mid-sized twins. The 750 model's electronics and chassis have barely changed in years, and that stagnation shows up in resale values. Used GSX R750s, especially those with high miles or heavy track use, routinely list for thousands of dollars below their original price. The bikes often sit unsold for months as the pool of interested buyers thins. Dealers facing slow turnover cut prices aggressively, sometimes bundling extended warranties or service credits just to move aging inventory. Off the floor. Harley-Davidson Pan America 1250 entered the adventure market with high expectations and a price tag to match. Base models often list from $17,000 to $18,000, and premium trims cost well over $20,000. But early reliability complaints and skepticism from traditional adventure riders quickly took their toll. Auction data and used listings tell the story. Recent Pan Americas are commonly found between $9,000 and $11,000, even for low-mileage examples. That is a 40 to 50% drop from new in just a few years. Dealers report heavy discounting and slow sales, especially as seasoned adventure buyers stick with proven models from BMW or KTM. The Pan America stands out for rapid value loss, even in a year when the entire adventure segment is down 11% at auction. BMW K6600 series, with its 6-cylinder engine and luxury features, once promised the ultimate touring experience. But luxury tourers are among the hardest hit by today's depreciation spiral. New K1600s can push well past $30,000, yet the used market is unforgiving. 5-year-old examples often sell for $12,000 to $15,000, less than half their original price. Maintenance costs are a major factor. Valve checks and shaft drive service can run $2,000 or more, and even routine repairs require specialized tools and expertise. BMW sales are down 10.8% this year, and dealers struggle to find buyers willing to take on the expense of ownership. For those who do, the initial savings come with the risk of 4-figure service bills, which only further depresses demand on the used side. The Indian Challenger, especially early model years, illustrates how quickly a high-profile launch can sour for first owners. Manufacturers suggested retail prices ranged from $24,000 to $28,000, with Indian aiming squarely at Harley's touring dominance. But early reliability concerns and a slow market start left a trail of heavy discounts. Used Challengers now compete head-to-head with Harleys on price, often undercutting their original sticker by thousands of dollars. Dealers report trade-in offers well below what owners expect, and many bikes land at auction after just a few years. The Challenger's experience reflects a broader trend. When a new model stumbles out of the gate, buyers become wary and resale values never fully recover. At the top of the list sits Harley-Davidson CVO lineup, the brand's crown jewel with manufacturers' suggested retail prices between $40,000 and $50,000, and special editions sometimes pushing even higher. These machines are loaded with exclusive paint, high-end audio, and every possible upgrade. But exclusivity does not guarantee sheer value. Many used CVOs ask only a few $1,000s more than standard road glides or street glides from the same year, despite a $10,000 to $15,000 gap in original price. Dealers describe an uncomfortable reality. We get CVO owners who expect $35,000 for their trade, but the market just is not there. Sometimes dealerships are forced to auction them at $25,000 or less just to clear the floor plan. The problem is simple. There are only so many buyers for a $50,000 motorcycle, and even fewer who want one that has already lost its new bike luster. As a result, CVO models experience some of the steepest and fastest depreciation in the industry, often dropping 40% or more within a few years. For the original buyer, that's a financial hit no amount of custom paint can soften. Each of these 5 models highlights a different risk: stagnant design, early reliability issues, high running costs, weak early adoption, or luxury pricing that outpaces demand. For dealers, the pressure mounts as every unsold bike racks up interest charges and storage fees, forcing tough decisions about markdowns and auctions. For buyers, the story is clear. A high sticker price does not protect against a crashing resale market. The next step is to look at the mechanics behind these price drops. How floor plan loans, auction recoveries, and dealer incentives shape what these motorcycles are actually worth. Dealers don't just worry about unsold bikes gathering dust, they feel it every day in dollars. Most rely on floor plan loans to stock inventory, borrowing against each motorcycle at rates that now average 6% annual rate. For a $15,000 bike, that means $2.45 in interest every single day it sits unsold. Multiply that across dozens of units, and the cost balloons fast. After 90 days, the pressure to act becomes urgent. Interest charges stack up, storage space runs tight, and cash flow slows to a crawl. At that point, many dealers are forced to cut prices sharply, sometimes by 20 or 30%, just to avoid deeper losses. If a bike still does not sell, the next stop is often the auction block. There, recovery rates can plunge to just 60% of original manufacturer-suggested retail price. National Powersport auctions managers describe rows of premium models, CVOs, Livewires, and even recent Pan Americas crossing the block at steep discounts, with hammer prices reflecting the true cost of holding too long. For buyers, this math means real leverage at the negotiating table. For dealers, it is a race against the calendar and the compounding interest clock. Battery health stands at the top of the checklist for electric models like the Livewire. A battery specialist warns that replacement packs can run between $6,000 and $10,000, so a pre-purchase battery test is essential. Detailed charge cycle logs and recent firmware updates help confirm the pack's condition and future support. For high-end tourers such as the BMW Casing 600, service records reveal hidden costs. Valve checks and timing adjustments often total $2,000 to $4,000 per visit, and skipping them can mean expensive surprises down the road. A technician's inspection should cover the shaft drive for leaks or play and verify that all electronics function as designed. Insurance can quietly tip the scales. An underwriter points out that premiums for supersports or mega cruisers may double those for a standard commuter, especially if parts are rare or repairs expensive. For a CVO or Rocket 3, annual insurance quotes can shock even experienced riders. Negotiation is more than haggling, it's using the dealer's pain points. Inventory sitting past 90 days racks up interest and storage fees, so buyers with cash or pre-approved financing can push for deeper discounts or added perks. With service cost verification and insurance quotes in hand, a buyer is ready to turn a risky purchase into a smart deal. Right now, motorcycle values are shifting faster than most riders realize. With manufacturer-suggested retail prices outpacing wage growth and unsold inventory piling up, every purchase becomes a calculated risk. The next wave of innovation and economic shifts will redraw the market again. Today's deal could be tomorrow's regret, or a rare opportunity. What is your take? Drop your experience in the comments and join the conversation.